This is a Marantz PianoCorder built in 1978. 46 years ago, these became popular for anyone who had a piano in their home or business and rarely played it. This unit was designed to roll right up to the piano keyboard. Electronic servos would touch each key, white and black, and when commanded, it would strike the keys using 5 ranges of strike force to produce an appropriate effect for each note, that is, loud or quiet volume, fortissimo or pianissimo. It can play 32 notes simultaneously. That's like having 3 people sitting at the same piano simultaneously playing with all 30 fingers. You can imagine the sound it can produce on just a regular piano. The market for the PianoCorder was anyone who had a piano and wanted to hear up to 450 songs produced on special cassette tapes. These tapes were designed to play MIDI files that were converted in a way that the PianoCorder would understand. As we'll see in a moment, the audio files that the PianoCorder understands sound like a fax machine being transmitted. They're not playing actual music, but specially encoded MIDI files. I have the back removed here, and you can see some of the servos that are attached to rods in pads that touch the keys of the piano. And when we get inside the unit in the house, we'll take another look at how the unit works with an MP3 player. This unit was originally sold with a special high-speed cassette tape deck that would use recorded tapes with all ranges of music, from rock, dance, ragtime, and classical, and everything in between. And we're also going to convert some popular movie themes and other pieces into MP3 files that this unit can understand. So I'm excited to hear how the piano will sound playing all of these specialized files. I don't own a regular piano, so we're going to use an electronic keyboard, and we'll describe that in a little bit as we go along. Remember, in 1978, digital keyboards weren't readily available on the market anyway, and so this unit was a unique and expensive alternative. It served as an electronic alternative to the old-fashioned scroll-playing pianos. But yeah, we've got a couple of them that are bent, but these are all 80 keys for an 88-key piano, and these are the pedal, the soft and the sustain pedal servos that are laying there. So let's just start. I've got a test that I downloaded off the internet, and it'll just work its way up the all notes, and it'll work its way up the keyboard. If there were a keyboard in here, you'd hear it playing. So we're going to hit play. Oops, sorry. Going to hit play here, and it's going to start at the bottom of the keys and work its way up. Yeah, so it'll strike the keys and go all the way up the keyboard from the low notes to the high notes. And this is just a test to make sure that all of the servos are working, and they all appear to be working. And let's fiddle with the fortissimo setting. See if we can notice any difference. Okay, I'm going to crank it up. It's a little harder. All right, I've backed off on the fortissimo, and it's a little quieter, so we'll just set it about halfway. All right, here we go. At the end of the song. Well, not the song. All right. All right, here we're playing a bunch of notes. Okay, jump to the next one. Next one. Okay. So you can see it's playing different. So when we get it hooked up to the piano, we'll be able to understand what it's playing. But it's going through its test mode. So I'm just going to turn it off here. We've got it ready to play. All we've got to do is get a keyboard stuck up underneath here, lay it up here against the keys, and we'll brace it with some books or something, pieces of wood, and we'll get the keyboard laying in here. Ordinarily, you would slide this whole thing up against the keyboard of the piano. So if you do a search on the internet, you're only going to find 1 or 2 videos with this actual model available on YouTube, which is pretty unusual. Very excited about that. They also had a model designed about the same time as this one, where these solenoids and the electronics and the power supply were all mounted up inside the piano. So you didn't have this big giant device here slid out in front of your piano. But if you were just going to let it play with the songs on the tape player, or in this case, the MP3s that were designed to play for the piano, you wouldn't care. This is a nice looking piece of furniture, I guess, and it slid in front of the keys. That wouldn't be a problem. Now I want you to hear what these sound like. It's not playing notes. I want you to hear what it sounds like. So it's sounds like a fax, but it is a special format. It's on to an MP3 file that the device here interprets and then plugs into the main board and makes the servos work. So it doesn't play music on this device into the piano. It plays a special MIDI file that is converted to actually work with the PianoCorder. So there we have it. I'm anxious for you to hear it play the piano, but I'm going to go ahead and publish this video and let you get a feel for the Marantz PianoCorder. And it is the Vorsetzer reproducer by PianoCorder. This height adjusts. There's a control rod on each side. Right there's the control rod. You can see it, and it will allow you to raise and lower this upper section down onto the keys. So there's a missing control rod on this side. So what we do is we loosen it and then lower the whole thing down onto the piano if you have a piano in your house. And then there's another attachment that keeps this thing from sliding back and forth. You put a little double stick attachment underneath the keyboard of the piano, and this screws into it and keeps this thing from moving back and forth. So this pushes in, and the depth is adjusted here slightly and on each side. And that's really all there is to it. It stays plugged in. There's no on-off switch anywhere. So once it's plugged in, it's fired up, and you can see that it's got a red light. That red light is also an air reader. This is just a standard, an MP3 player. I have a video on the Sangean MP3 player that you can look up on my channel. This has nothing to do with the PianoCorder. It is just an MP3 player. I could use the same thing with a laptop, playing, plug this into the headphone jack of the laptop, and I could do the same thing with MP3 files. But this is just a great standalone MP3 player that I have that uses SD cards and will play on, as you can tell, it'll play on the speaker, and it'll record in stereo and play it in mono, but it records in stereo. It has 2 microphone jacks here, and but I just transferred audio to the memory card, which is stored back in here, and there's a memory card there, and then I can play all these test files for the PianoCorder. So that's what that's about. This has nothing to do with the piano directly. It's just what I'm using to play into the interface that interprets the MIDI files in a way that the PianoCorder will understand.